Folks, we have almost made it. It is mid-August, and that means before you know it, you're gonna be out in the woods chasing various critters. But you're still in that 11th hour to get your gear all squared away, and one of the more common questions we get is about rifles, and specifically, well, which one do I use? So today we're gonna dive into what the most effective cartridge is to drag out into the woods with you to go after the buck of your dreams. Now, a fun fact about me, before like a decade ago, I had never been on a rifle hunt. Despite all my time in the Marine Corps and law enforcement and spending time behind rifles, it just was never something that lined up for me. I lived below Michigan's dreaded rifle line where we're second-class citizens and we can't really use center fire stuff. That's changed a little bit. But I was always a bow hunter, took a bow out even during shotgun and muzzleloader season. So when I started rifle hunting, I really needed to dive into it because I didn't have a great jumping off point. I did a ton of research, read a bunch of articles, research papers. I even talked with nationally renowned, somewhat pro shooters sponsored by companies like Nosler, Timney Triggers, Proof Research. You don't get those type of sponsorships without knowing what you're talking about. I got real decent with rifles real quick, and I took the same exact approach to making this list the best 3 rounds that you should carry out into the whitetail woods with you. And specifically, when I'm saying whitetail, I'm talking east of the Mississippi. I know there are some whitetail hunts west of it, but that kind of gets into a whole different category where you're doing some spot and stalk stuff, maybe a little bit of tree stand, maybe a little bit of blind. But we're talking east of the Mississippi, the typical range you think of with whitetail. So again, read a bunch of articles, looked at a bunch of research, read every survey I could find from various game and fish departments on the harvesting of whitetails and specifically kind of what those conditions were. And tell you, pretty overwhelmingly, the vast majority of whitetails are taken from a static position, whether that be tree stand, box blind, or ground blind, and the shot is under 200 yards. Now this is not an end-all be-all list. There are some cartridges that I left off, and those rounds really killed me to leave off of this. But if you look at what we're working with, 200 yards and in, realistically I went out to 300 and in, just in case you want to stretch your legs a little bit. There are a lot of rounds that do way more than what you need, and you really got to pay some penalties to get that added range and added velocity that you're just probably never going to use. So I evaluated these rounds on a couple of different criteria. Number 1, what it does out to 300 yards. Number 2, how bad it is on recoil. I think recoil is a big thing when shooting. Some hunters are really good at managing it, but most people don't like recoil. It creates flinch, it creates bad habits, and if we can get away from that, it makes it more enjoyable to go practice, and that's where you become a better shooter. Number 3 is going to be availability, and number 4 is going to be cost. Now before we jump into the actual list, I'm going to take a second to do a shameless plug. Deer and Donuts is giving away one-year Onyx Elite membership to a subscriber. All right, it's completely free to enter. All you gotta do is go down, hit subscribe. Be a subscriber as of August 31st, midnight Phoenix time, and you can win yourself a totally free Onyx Elite membership for a year. Now that comes with all 50 states, access to their outdoor classes, and some cool discounts on various brands. So what do you get to lose? Just go down, hit that subscribe. And if you don't win this one, know that we do more of these. And to be honest, hopefully by the end of this video, you're like, hey, Matt's a pretty cool dude. Maybe I want to come hang out a little bit more, and you'll hit that subscribe anyway. But let's jump into the list, the top 3 rounds for whitetail. And starting off in no particular order, at number 1, I guess, I'm gonna go with 308 Winchester. Now I know what you're thinking. One of the first things I said was recoil, and 308 is not necessarily low on the recoil. And it's not, all right? It's about 40% more than the other 2 offerings on this list. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at a whole bunch of different cartridges, it's really not that bad. It's pretty middle of the road. I think while a little bit stiff, it's not anything most shooters can't handle. Now, like I said, I've seen people do crazy things with their chambering selection. I've seen people take 300 Win Mags out to shoot a whitetail from a tree stand at 50 yards. Does it do the job? Absolutely. Can you ever shoot them 2 dead? No, you can't. But is that probably way overkill? Yes. And maybe there is a better tool for this job. And I think the 308 is one of them. What it lacks in its ability to really have a low recoil, it kills the other categories. 308 is one of the most available rounds in the entire planet, all right? It is going to be in pretty much every sporting goods store you walk into, and there's going to be a ton of offerings probably in that store. And that's one of the other big things that wins for 308 is it's available in a ton of different rifles, so you can find one that fits your needs, and it's available in a ton of different ammo, so you can really fine-tune that factory ammo to not only what your rifle likes, but what your situation needs. Now, because of that availability, it also does great with being a low-cost round. And again, low-cost round allows us to go out and practice more, and that's where we get good. That's where we can start pushing our boundaries a little bit more. And that's where in the heat of the moment, you're gonna execute a perfect shot and have no real concerns about doing it. So 308 crushes availability and cost. You can find decent practice rounds and even decent hunting rounds under $1 a round, and that's a decent price. And for the final category, 308 has been taking down things way larger than deer out to 300 yards for decades at this point. It's not gonna have any problems with a whitetail. Honestly, it's probably a little bit of an overkill, but it does so well in some of those other categories that I'm not real concerned about it. 308 makes this list because of its versatility and its availability. Now, I will tell you for this spot, I really thought about a 270. It kills me a little bit to leave the 270 off, but I think when you look at it, the 270 and 308 ballistically are not different enough out to that 300 yards that the 270 wins in that. And the 308 is way more available and it's a cheaper ammo. So you look at all things equal, including recoil, 308 just wins in a couple more categories, and that's why it's on this list. Now, number 2 on the list, another Winchester offering. It's the 243. And again, 300 yards and in, I think the 243 really has a chance to shine, all right? It is incredibly light in the recoil game. Obviously, it depends what round you're shooting, how heavy your rifle is, but most offerings, under 10 foot-pounds of energy. That is super light, and it's something small hunters, recoil-sensitive hunters, pretty much anybody can handle. It's going to be very delightful to shoot, and it's going to make it so that you can go out and do a ton more. You can practice all day, and it's not gonna rock your shoulder. Now, speaking of practicing all day, you gotta be able to afford that ammo. And again, you're looking at under $1 a round. I've jumped online before I made this video. I was able to find practice ammo for 243 down to 60 to 70 cents a round. It's not terrible. Obviously, if you shoot literally all day, it's probably gonna break the bank, but it's gonna give you a lot more room to practice over some of the Magnum cartridges, or I don't know, even the 6.5 PRC I shoot is significantly more expensive than 60 to 70 cents a round. Now, going back to what the 243 Winchester can do ballistically, you're looking at a couple of different factors you wanna keep in mind, all right? My most important is how far out does that velocity stay over, we'll say 1900 feet per second. That seems to be where a lot of bullets start falling off on being able to properly perform. In a lot of factory offerings, 243 Winchester are gonna get you out past 500 yards before it starts dropping off below that velocity. The other kind of benchmark that I don't use as much is 1,000 foot-pounds of energy. And again, with most offerings, you're gonna be able to get out past 400 yards. So realistically, anything inside of that 300 yards, you're gonna have no issues ballistically, and that deer should be dead as long as you can make a good shot. Now, while I don't think 243 Winchester is as available as a 308, it is still very available. It's been around for decades. You can find it in most outdoor shops at this point. So again, 243 kills it ballistically out to where we need it to go, does decent on cost, great on recoil, and it's pretty available. It really checks all of our categories, and it is a great option for a hunter that wants to favor recoil management and budget efficiency while not giving up too much in that ballistic efficiency. Don't sleep on the 243 Winchester just because it is a smaller round. Now, number 3 on this list is gonna create some debate, and honestly, it feeds me. I love seeing the hatred for this round because I really don't understand it, and that is the 6.5 Creedmoor. Like it or not, Hornady's offering, it's here to stay. It has kind of taken the shooting world by storm, and for good reason. Ballistically, it is incredible. Not only does it make my list of top whitetail rounds, I really think if I had to point someone towards one starter rifle that's gonna be able to do most things and they're not a proficient shooter, I'd probably point them towards 6.5 Creedmoor. It's fairly light recoiling, just slightly worse than the 243. So If you're a new shooter or recoil sensitive shooter, it's not going to be terrible for you. It is at this point widely available. It's available in, I think, in pretty much every offering from rifles, it seems like. And you can find a ton of factory loaded ammunition pretty much everywhere you go. On top of that, competitive shooters really like the 6.5 Creedmoor. So if you are a reloader, it has a ton of components out there available and a ton of high quality components available. And the cost on it, honestly not bad. Again, jumped on, checked prices just before I made this video. If you're looking at practice ammo, you can find it under $1 a round in that 60 to 70 cent range. Hunting ammunition for like low end stuff, probably gonna push you a little bit up closer towards that dollar, but you can definitely get into this game for less than $1, and it's going to come in a package that is very appealing to a lot of hunters. Again, if we're gonna put 308 on this list for its kind of adaptability, well, I think 6.5 Creedmoor can do most of the things that 308 can, and it's just in a little bit more desirable package to most shooters. Now I understand the shortcomings of a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's not the biggest round in the world. It doesn't have the craziest muzzle velocity. You still need to do what you have to do as far as shot placement and making ethical shot choices. But ballistically, inside of that 300 yards, it is nowhere close to dropping below 1900 feet per second for its velocity, and it is carrying 1,000 foot-pounds energy. So if you're hunting for a new rifle for hunting season, I really point a lot of people towards 6.5 Creedmoor to go fill their freezers this fall. Now again, I want you to go to those comments. Your 6.5 Creedmoor hate, it feeds me, all right? 6.5 Creedmoor, not leaving my list anytime soon. But again, that is my top 3 whitetail rounds. Now, hopefully I did it. Hopefully I swayed you enough that you're gonna go down, hit that subscribe button, get yourself entered for Onyx. I'll do one more shameless plug. If you want 5 extra entries to that Onyx subscription sweepstakes, go down, join our membership. It's like $1 a month because YouTube won't let us make it for free. But it gets you access to our Discord where we talk e-scouting, bear, elk, moose, gear, memes, whatever you want. So go down, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. Goodbye.